Now we shall move on to the question and answers. We would like to have the participants raise hand and ask your question. When you raise your hand, we will unmute you, and one by one, in a serial manner, we would be able to allow you to ask questions. Please raise your hands.
I have something to add on, if you don't mind. Can I go ahead, Manoj bhai?
Yeah, please go ahead. Because this question and answer session, so if you have any questions to any speakers, you are most welcome.
No, Manoj bhai, I have something to ask Ajit bhai.
Yeah.
Ajit bhai, I have a dream. I have a dream to make 1 rupee equal to $1. And this COVID-19, which has come up, I think it has given a different dimension to understand that change is constant. And when I say change is constant, because every printers of this country have to learn to rethink how to do the business. And as Mahesh Bhupati is talking about how to take the advantage of your partner or your colleague on the field. So now the time has come where we need to see, and my dream is this, how can we make 1 rupee equal to $1, looking at the present circumstances, and how do you expect AIFMP to play a role like CIA or FICCI with the government? And this is very, very important. Management by theory is one side, but management by practices is another side. I think the time has come. The time has come. We'll have to now rethink all our thought process to see that India become such a big exporter that rupee will become to $1. And imagine what will be the situation during that time. Yeah,
Ajit bhai, your comments.
Well, let me start with the positive notes that yes, average Indian is much, much better than average citizen of any other country. We are no less. We are not a poor country. We are poorly managed country. So what answer to your question is, to be a successful international partners, there are many areas in which we need to improve. But if am I to only highlight only one thing, and that's all, then I will say that Indian exporters, Indian manufacturers should have extremely good delivery. Delivery is the one thing where you should be extremely focused, 100%. Your commitment should be pakkar ki lakir. Once you say this is the date on which I will deliver, whatever it may happen, there will be 100 reasons for you not to deliver on that day, and that is the reputation which we are having it. So what is important is that if all the Indian exporters, I go by Gupta Sahab, your word, the theory and practice. Forget all theory, forget all practice. Train and teach, educate our exporters only on one line, how to remain committed in a delivery. I always say delivery on time, every time. Consistency. Once the overseas buyer gets tremendous confidence that yes, there is a person who can deliver the goods as per his promise, nobody can touch your shoulder from the back, and you will be always the winner. All rest of the things will take its place. So my last sentence is, it is the attitude which we have to change it. We have to be more and more and more of a discipline, because we have so many other qualities already inbuilt. We need to well sharpen it and bring the advantage India to hope, enjoy and celebrate. Thank you.
So I have a question, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mahesh, after hearing everybody, after hearing all the speakers about Advantage India and future, how it's going to be after this delayed lockdown and what's on and so on, and it might go for 1 month more. And what is your take? What do you feel that where the industry is growing? You know definitely about packaging industry now. So how you see the future of India and exports mainly from India to other countries? How you see?
And obviously, from our perspective, I can only talk about what we've been exporting the last 6-7 months. I think there is going to be a slowdown because I think people in general are a little nervous about getting packages. Just in general, it doesn't matter what's in it. If even the top people, I mean, we've been talking to a lot of the big industrialists also because we're providing some sanitizers to them. They are also seeing a slowdown. So I think in general, it's going to be one year at least before things return to normal on the business front. I think, it depends on, today you saw on Twitter, the Kerala government said that they have only 16 cases left, and all of them in hospital, but they're getting ready for the third wave of corona to come into the state. So unfortunately, I think this is going to be a way of life till there's a vaccine and the whole world is vaccinated. I think we're going to have to live with it. We're going to have to protect the elderly and the kids and find a way to get back. But exports, I think it'll take at least a year for us to get back to normal pre-COVID numbers.
How did you enjoy, your life as a sportsman? I believe that you were the leading sportsman, and we always used to, feel proud when you were playing on the, grass court, But how do you compare yourself those 20 years when compared to now your 20 years as a businessman or as an industrialist?
Well, it's two very different things. I think
I know.
both are very enjoyable. Tennis was always my passion. I did not know how far I would go. Regardless, the dream was to play at Wimbledon. So there was never any specific goals set, but luckily we were able to overachieve. But in business, I guess it's different. You set out a vision every year. You set out sales targets every month. You have to drive the team and drive yourself to make sure you achieve those targets because you have investors that you're answerable to. You have employees that you're answerable to if numbers are not happening, because as an owner, you are responsible regardless of the results. So I think both have been extremely enjoyable. Both have been extremely challenging, but I would say business is definitely, a lot more variables, so a lot more challenging in general than sport, in my opinion.
So we have Mr. Dayakar Reddy here.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good
Yeah.
evening, everyone. I would like to ask a self-question, all the participants here. How many tries they have done to export their product? See, simply sitting in our office, AFMP or any associations cannot give a direct order. Most of the people from Bombay must have been heard about Bozango, Waterfall. Those people are doing thousands of crores, hundreds of crores. Now they are targeting thousands, maybe very few years. So I would request all the printers, you have to explore where our products are acceptable, where our products are fit to export, and then you have to try. Definitely you have to try. Maybe today, Satishji and Sureshji, they have not just started exporting just sitting at their office. They must have traveled at least thousands of times to all these places. So since being a printer, I don't export anything, but as a machine suppliers, we are doing export more than 20-25 countries, especially in Gulf and Africa. So we keep on tracking them, keep on traveling them, those countries. Unless until we don't spend our time and money, we cannot expect that export business. And secondly, what AFMP can do it, we can select some countries, where our products are printed products. Probably it may be monocartons, probably it may be cartons, or it may be flexible, anything. Then we can put some efforts there, that particular countries. Maybe we may talk to the print association there. We can have a B2B meetings there with our printers who are planning to export their products. That is how we can improve our export sales, definitely. And we are all talking about silver line and advantage to India. I would like to inform each and every attendee in this webinar, the government has to change first. As Mr. Mahesh Bhupati says, 5 weeks is waiting for his license for producing sanitization. So who is losing that? You know, as a nation, there is a loss. As a entrepreneur, Mr. Mahesh also is losing. So basically, government has to do a lot of hard work to come out of this ease of doing business, a single window policy. Like if we talk about Hyderabad, Telangana, last 5 years, they have issued 4,000 single window permissions within 16 days. 17th day, you are deemed to start your production or construction. So these kind of things has to be done, government definitely. Then only we can definitely have the advantage of a COVID situation from the China.
Got you, Dayakar. I think Satish will answer. Satish?
See, in my interaction with various printers at Capexcel, because they interact with most of the members who are registered with us, one of the immediate concern is, we have tried to see what has led to people to succeed and what has led people not to succeed. And rightfully, as has been said, when you are exporting, there has to be a complete attitudinal change. In India, we still have an attitude of chalta hai, maybe next time I'll do better. These things have no value. So before even you approach your customers, prospective customers, you should develop the capability of doing standardized production. We don't, the quality is again very relative. For the acceptable price, you have to give a standardized production. If you have 10,000 products, all have to be identical. Then your commitment has to have value. You have to meet timings. So, unless you have that kind of mindset, you are not going to sustain your business. Even if after a lot of effort you end up getting an order, if your performance is not up to the mark, you would be losing that and you will be again required to start all over again. So people who have really mastered this, they have been able to sustain their businesses in a very big manner. Well, I see that now under current COVID conditions, the habit of cleanliness has come into all our units. Even things like tobacco and gutka is not going to be allowed in factories. So I think most of us will automatically develop the attitude of making a dust-free area, coming with product. Then we have to have also one more attitudinal change I have seen, that when you are producing a product for exports, it has to be made and packed in a way that it maintains the same shape and quality till the time it is put on the shelf, is picked up by a customer and he uses it. See, in international law, if anyone finds the product is not usable to his needs, he can reject it. And if he rejects it, you have really no recourse. You lose all your money. So these are the preconditions we all have to imbibe. Unless we have imbibed them, we are not going to get much success. And having said so, then the government definitely has to give us a level playing field. We have to be at par in terms of competitiveness. In India, we are still a high cost economy when we compare it with a lot of other countries. See, today, the price at which we buy diesel, the price at which we get electricity, we are paying much higher rates. Electricity is subsidized to the farmers and we have to pay the cross subsidization price to cover what is going to the farmers. Similarly, in this era, when petrol, diesel has internationally, oil is cheap, but we end up paying, almost 2/3 of the price which we give for these fuels is ending to be is taxes. So unless we are able to strip this all, then the inefficiency of our infrastructure. Today a ship docks in Bombay, it goes out of Bombay after 7 days. In their various countries abroad who are very efficient, in 10 hours a ship will come, it will discharge all its cargo, pick the new cargo, and by next day it would have sailed out. So there is an overall requirement which has to be met, and I think it is a concerted effort right from the industry and the government. Both have to pull up their socks. Only then we'll be able to succeed. And then, as we are saying, to invite all foreign companies to set up base over there, I think a lot has to change. You see, in China, most of the manufacturers were not very happy because in China there are no protection to copyrights and your proprietary laws. In India, we do have such laws, but we hardly have much enforcement. So I think in India, we have to provide them with that infrastructure, give them the ease of working. They can, the labor law changes is a very welcome step which has already happened. So unless we congregate all these areas, the convergence thereof brings efficiency and leads us to a low cost economy, we will not be able to fructify all the gains and excel the way we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Mr. Raghavendra Datta Bora.
What I wanted to know is, you see most of the units in India are micro and small units. So do you think the way ahead is for micro and small units to form clusters, and bigger units or units who are already exporting, they should start considering these clusters as their suppliers? So this is a question to all of our panelists. Whoever feels comfortable, please go ahead and answer to this. Thank you.
Correct. Right. Ajit bhai.
Yeah. See, throughout the world, cluster concept is well accepted and it is well practiced. Unfortunately, in India, it has not received that much attention. Again, because of our mental blocks, we have to work out on that basis. As you very rightly mentioned, one large big company which will be a face in the world market to the overseas, but it will be supported at the back end by many small companies who will be the supplier for this. Entire auto industry is built up on that basis. Printing industry can do, because there are certain advantages even to a small organization, as there are certain disadvantages. So large unit very strong in marketing, small unit very efficient in supplying. If we can take best of the both, I think cluster concept is something which will have a long contribution in India's exports if a scheme is properly designed, and somebody should be there who can coordinate the people. Unfortunately, it is most of the time, I have worked earlier also for the cluster, I have found that it is an individual interest. It is a non-professional approach. It is a likes and dislike for a person. All these things are the reasons for which either the cluster have collapsed or cluster has not achieved the success what it can. But as an answer to your question, I can say cluster is one of the best way that you can work it out. Same thing what Mr. Bhupati also mentioned, teamwork. Everyone will have its plus and minus point. So let us do a cluster, unite together, and bring the advantage India at our pace. Thank you.
Raghavendra, I like to answer. Raghavendra, you came up with a very novel idea of joining hand and supply to the world over. All big giants in India, they can shake hand with the cluster. Only point is quality and consistency. We all should produce. So this big giant should have confidence in our productivity, and we can win. I think you have a very novel idea. This can be worked out in different places, certainly.
Anuj bhai, can I?
Yeah.
Anuj bhai?
Yeah. Suresh, yes.
Yeah, I would like to add one more thing here, because as I rightly said, cluster is not that useful for Indian, but a lot of people who start a cluster also, it was a failure. Why? Because they are not able to be used to with this technology. Whereas you must have a lot of vendors. For example, you are an exporter. You must create vendors for post-press, pre-press vendors. If you are a printer, you have to post-press, pre-printers, like a small printers, and give them training, and take them along with you. So all this combination, definitely we can able to achieve export. Number one. Number two, these vendors also benefited once you exported. Those people also benefited indirect export, that deemed export. Those people also get the benefit. That's what Indian now are doing. That's the only way we can able to survive these things.
Okay,
I'm here.
So there's a question from Mr. Uday Dote.
Yeah, please. Yes, he has mentioned that DNA must change. I like that.
Sir, the cost of finance is also a big factor, whereas LIBOR is hovering around 1%, and look at the interest rates. I think this is one of the major things which we have not discussed so far.
Mm-hmm. Cost of?
Cost of finance.
Yeah.
Whereas
That
globally it is internationally.
Yeah,
LIBOR is
yeah.
occurring around 1%. And
Yes,
look at
in
our
India it
interest
is.
rates.
Yes.
Because most of our things
I
are
agree with you. Totally
depending on
agree
the
with you
capex. Yeah.
on that. That is the biggest restaurant which any industry to come in India, because Indian finance, bank finance is very costly. So definitely people will think twice, thrice before if they are seeking the finance in India from Indian bankers.
No, even
Because
our cost of production goes high, Manoj Bhai, because of this cost.
I agree with you.
So there's something has to be done there, because I think that is also a major impediment.
Satish want to answer? Yeah.
We fully appreciate that international finance is at 1%, and today we get it finance to the Indian industry is 9 to 10%. Even if we factor in the 3% subvention which exporters are able to get, even then the cost ends up being 7 to 8%, which is really not very inviting. See, the window of international finance is also available to us Indians, but the past experience has shown that whenever we have utilized finance at a very low rate, it is the exchange rate fluctuation which has literally killed us. So I think what is very important, if we analyze China, 20 years back, I think India and China were at the same level of GDP. In the last 2 to 3 decades, China overgrew us by 6 to 8 times. And I have not been watching China for the last 3 decades, but for the last 1.5 decade, I have seen that the Chinese currency has been very stable. So again, they are pegged to a dollar and their exchange rate has been almost stable. I would also advocate to the Indian government that they should formulate policies that our Indian rupee exchange rate remains stable. Because if they can guarantee the somewhat stability of the exchange rate, then we entrepreneurs will be very much enthused to avail international credit, where we know that we are not going to be ripped off in the exchange rate fluctuation.
Satish ji, but this international borrowing, even the ECB route is not allowed. No. The ECB route also has its problems. So,
So
for international borrowing also, what I'm saying is this has to open up also, along with the other factors.
Yes, and I feel, and I am sincerely feeling that our policy of letting our exchange rate or the rupee depreciate, thinking that it will bring us more business and more exports, I think it's a misnomer. Rather, by devaluing our rupee, we are losing our wealth. Our valuations are falling, and I think the government or the economists have to look into it. There are enough economic models in the world who have grown substantially by maintaining their exchange rates. Devaluing exchange rates has not been the right policy. And if the government, we are trying to make some representations. If the government can come to that, then I think our banking and international funds will be we will be not as bad off as we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think, Satish, you are absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Mr. Kamalji is here.
Yeah, madam.
Kamalji wants to ask a question.
Yeah, Kamalji.
Kamalji?
Yeah, actually, I want
Can I turn your video?
Oh, sure. Why not? So, it's not working. Actually, I just wanted to.
Came.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Satish a question, because Satish is dealing in COPEXL and all these activities. Nowadays, you have been working with the COPEXL and all other government agencies, also the government relation chairman. Recently, we came to know that Uttar Pradesh government has issued a circular that their 7 or 6 labor law will not be enforced for the next 3 years. Will it be? Will such a system will attract some foreign persons to establish? Will it be helpful?
Let me be very frank. The most of the very big foreign companies very much fear the Indian labor laws. They carry the phobia that Indian labor, if it is inefficient and if there are business situation changes, we don't have the liberty to hire and fire, because they are accustomed to paying good, getting good work. If there is no work, they will fire. And as far as social security, that is the responsibility of the government, not the responsibility of the business. See, in India, the government has put the social responsibility also on the businessman. That even if the person is inefficient, you cannot relieve him. So I think to some extent these changes will imbibe a little more confidence. But then there are so many, it is a composite. There are 6-7 matters which need to change. See, I have interacted with some people. They also say that in India, the enforcement of contract, the very lethargic judiciary system, this also lowers their confidence. Very often, most of the foreign companies are not even permitted to buy freehold land. They have to lease out land to work over here. So, there are various, if we talk to them, I think they have a lot many asks from the government. See, Apple has been trying to set up a big base, and the government is also inviting Apple to set up a big base. But even today, the asks from Apple still seem to be unreasonable to the government, and they haven't yet been able to formulate a policy which is acceptable to both. So I think the dilution of the labor laws maybe is something in the right direction, because I also carry the conviction that you have to pay for work, pay for consideration, no work, no pay. But at the same time, as a humanitarian, the obligation of a person who is not able to get the job, the social security should lie with the government and not with the industrialist. You cannot make the industry sick. If the industry has to be efficient, they have to be given resources, efficient resources to work. This is my opinion.
Sir, that's what I think it is for the first time in the first 70 years that one government has removed those laws.
Yeah, and there are by evening you will be hearing that there are some other states which are also following suit.